If you're planning a trip to Italy and you've never learned the language before, but you would really like to speak un po' di italiano, a little bit of Italian without feeling overwhelmed, then this video is for you. I'm Valentina Stella, your native Italian teacher, and if you're new here, benvenuto, welcome. I've already made a lot of videos with the most helpful Italian phrases for beginners, and I get so many comments from you saying how much more confident you felt during your trip in Italy. And this really motivates me to create even more helpful content for you. So today I'm going to share with you the very first 10 Italian words that I believe you should learn before your trip. Now, these words will help you break into the language and not feel completely lost when you visit. Now, if you're not new here, then bentornato, welcome back. And I promise you will find something useful as well. So please make sure to watch till the end. Okay. Iniziamo. Let's begin. Okay, the very first word I want to share with you and that we really need is this one. Salve. Salve. Now, salve means hello. I know everyone knows ciao in the word. Everyone knows ciao. But what not everyone knows is that ciao in Italy is considered very informal. We would only use that with family and friends. We would never use ciao with strangers and in very formal contexts. So, what should you use instead if you want to greet someone in a polite way? Then you can use salve. Salve is always perfect. It works at any time of the day and in any situation. So you can use that when you are greeting your host, when you're entering in a shop, when you're buying tickets at a museum, at the train station. Salve will always do. So remember to use salve. Okay, parola numero due, word number two. And by the way, I've arranged these words in a logical order, so hopefully this will help you to memorize them and practice them. So after salve, hello, we need a way to say goodbye. And the one I recommend that you learn first and you use first is this one. Arrivederci. Arrivederci. Now, what I want you to notice is this. In Italy, we do use ciao as goodbye too. Usually we double that up. We can double that up. Like we say ciao ciao, and that means goodbye. And if you're not new to my videos and you have watched them till the end, you probably know that I sometimes use that and they say ciao ciao at the end of the videos. But again, ciao is still informal in this way, used in this way too. So what I would recommend is arrivederci. Arrivederci is perfect to sound polite and respectful and can be used again in any situation whenever you are leaving a place. So if you're leaving a restaurant, a bar, or when you're also leaving the hotel, you can always say arrivederci. Okay, parola numero tre, word number three. And that's the way we say thank you in Italian. Grazie. Grazie. Now, probably grazie is one of the very first words people learn, and it's simple, but it's always appropriate. So that's your great starting point. What I want you to remember though is to make sure to pronounce it correctly. Because what I hear a lot, especially with English native speakers, is that they tend to drop the final E sound. Because in English, you say grazie and you think you're good to go because the E sound is an E. But in Italian, when you have an E in English, that's pronounced as E in Italian. E. And as I always say, I think almost in all my videos, is that you always need to pronounce every single vowel in Italian words. If you do that, you will always sound perfectly correct and clear. So even with this word, we do have two consecutive vowels, the I and the E. In Italian, they are pronounced as E and e. So you need to pronounce both of them, e. If you have trouble with these kind of situations, like consecutive vowels, practice just the vowels first, e, 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 and then put them everything together in the word. So grazie, grazie. Remember, it's not grazie, it's grazie. And use my trick to practice this and pronounce this correctly. Okay, what do we have after grazie? So thank you. We have prego, prego. Now, prego is an extremely helpful word because it actually has two meanings, two different meanings, and they are both very common in Italy. So you want to know them when you visit. Meaning number one, you're welcome. So, grazie, prego, perfetto. Meaning number two, prego can also mean please go ahead in Italian. So don't be surprised if someone tells you that and tells you prego and you haven't thanked them. That's what they mean if they use prego with you. Let me give you a little bit of a context here. Let's suppose you are getting into a shop and you are like passing through the door together with another person, and that person tells you prego. They're telling you, please go ahead. They're letting you pass first. So prego is a word of great courtesy in Italian. Or another example, if you are at a ticket office and the person at the ticket office welcomes you with prego, they are telling you, please go ahead and make your request. So remember, prego has two meanings in Italian. You're welcome and please go ahead. Now, as always, if you want to review all these words easily and also the double meanings of some of the words that we're going to see today together, remember that you can download the free PDF I prepared for you, as I always do with all my YouTube videos, so that you can easily review everything because, of course, learning a language takes practice, and I hope that these PDFs help you practice your Italian. So you can download them by using the link in the description below this video. Ok, continuiamo. Let's continue. Parola numero 5, word number 5 that you need to learn first in Italian, and that's per favore. Per favore. Per favore in Italian means please, and it's your magic word for making polite requests even if you know any Italian. So you don't really need, especially at the beginning, you don't really need complex phrases if you just use per favore and you want to make a polite request. Per esempio, for example, if you want to ask for a coffee, please, you just learn the word for coffee, quindi un caffè, in this case a coffee, and then add per favore. Un caffè, per favore. Un caffè, per favore. And you will be perfect. You will sound polite and you will be making your requests in an effective way. Or let's suppose you need something extra, like at the restaurant, per esempio, for example, a spoon. How do you do that? Exactly the same way. You ask, a spoon, please. Un cucchiaio, per favore. Un cucchiaio, per favore. Va bene? Oh, by the way, also the examples will be included in the PDF, so you can review them easily there. Now, something I want you to notice regarding per favore and grazie is a difference between Italian and English. These are the things I always try to point out, so you learn them immediately and you don't get confused when you hear them in real life. In English, when someone offers you something, for example, do you want a coffee? Would you like a coffee? You reply, yes, please. And it may be tempting to use the same structure in Italian, so sì, per favore. Well, while people will still understand you, that's not technically correct in Italian because that's not how we say that. When we want to accept a request, we say sì, grazie. Yes, thank you. So this is a tiny difference between English and Italian. So remember, when asking for something, so when making a request, use per favore. But when accepting a request, use grazie. So per favore this, or sì, grazie for accepting something. Okay, Andiamo avanti. Let's move on. Parola numero 6, word number 6, and that is scusi. Scusi. Now, scusi is another great double duty word because actually it has two meanings and they're both very common in Italy. Meaning number one, scusi means excuse me, is used as excuse me to get other people attention. So I always recommend using scusi for approaching strangers politely. Per esempio, if you want to ask for something in the street, like directions, always start your question with scusi and then proceed. Or, for example, if you are at the restaurant and you're asking for an extra spoon, like we learned a few minutes ago, then you can, just by adding scusi at the beginning of your question, you sound very, very polite and respectful. So, for example, scusi, un cucchiaio, per favore. Fantastico. Now, meaning number two of scusi is sorry or pardon me when you are, for example, in a crowd. Let's suppose you are in a crowd, which is something that happens quite frequently when you are visiting touristic places in Italy. You may end up bumping into someone, or you may end up needing to pass through a crowd. This is the word that you need in this context. Scusi. Scusi. So just make your way through the crowd just saying scusi, scusi, and people will be very happy to oblige you and they will not feel like you are getting into them. Va bene? Perfetto. Ok, parola numero 7. And this is the Italian word for how much in Italian, which is quanto. Quanto. I believe that this word is essential when you're visiting Italy because you can use that for shopping and restaurants and you need to know prices. Now, even if you don't know any verb yet, so you cannot construct a full sentence yet, just pointing at something, like for example, a bag in a shop or food at the market, if you want to shop at the market, will help you getting your answer if you just point at that and say, anzi, hold on, scusi, quanto? So you can combine them together. And they will perfectly understand you and they will tell you the price. Now, the only thing I want you to make sure to do when you're using quanto in a question is to change your intonation because that's the key to pronounce Italian question words, question phrases correctly. So that would be scusi, quanto? See, can you hear I'm raising a little bit my intonation? Like I'm not saying quanto, I'm saying quanto. That means it's a question. Va bene? Okay, let's move on. Andiamo avanti. A few more words. Next ones are the Italian way of saying this and that. Let's take a little bit more space here. So this and that are also essential words. In Italian, they are questo, quello, questo, quello. Now, this can be very, very helpful. So I think these are really some of the words that you really need to learn first. Per esempio, imagine you are at the gelateria, which is the shop that sells ice cream in Italian. It has a specific name, which is gelateria. And they ask you to pick your flavor for your gelato. By the way, let me take a moment to tell you something very important for when you visit next. In Italy, we always pick at least 2 different flavors for our gelato. If you pick one, you're not doing that the real Italian way. We pick at least 2, if not 3 different flavors, and that's the Italian way of doing that. So remember, pick at least 2. So questo and quello. You can point at the flavors and confidently say questo, quello, and you will have your perfect Italian gelato. Of course, you can use these in more situations than that, but I think this is very important. Okay, andiamo avanti. Let's move on to last word I want you to memorize to learn first in Italian. And this is actually more than one. So forgive me for giving you a little bit more than one, but this is super easy to remember because the structure is the same and it's extremely helpful. So here are the words I want to share with you. Let me explain them. So let me pronounce them first. Per me, per lui, per lei, per loro. What does that mean and when can we use them? Per means for in Italian, and per me means for me. Per lui means for him. Per lei means for her, and per loro means for them. So I do believe this is extremely helpful, a pattern that's extremely helpful to learn and use because it's very helpful for restaurants. Let me give you the context. If you are alone at a restaurant, you can simply point at the menu and say questo for what you want to order. But what if you're traveling with family or friends and you need to order for more than one and you want to do that in Italian? Now, my recommendation is this. If you learn these super short phrases, you will be able to order for anyone. This is the easiest way to order in Italian. So you can say per me and then add what you want, the dish that you want. For him or for her, if you're traveling with your partner, per lui, per lei. If you are traveling with your kids or your parents, you can say for them, per loro. And then you add the name of the dish that you can just read from the menu. Per esempio, per me spaghetti alle vongole. Perfetto. So they will know exactly who wants what. Per lui gnocchi al pomodoro. Per loro pizza. And that will be perfect. You will make your order perfectly in perfect Italian style. Okay, there you have it. My personal selection of the very first 10 words that you need to learn when visiting Italy and if you're just starting to learn Italian. Please, please remember, the key is to start using them right away. So pick your favorite 3. Let me know in the comments which ones they are and why, and then use them today when you are in a situation that calls for them. And I know if you're not in Italy, you can just repeat them in your head. That will still count and make you get into the habit of using them when you will be that will be handy when you will be in Italy. And if you want to learn more helpful Italian phrases to learn for your trip as a beginner, then please have a look at all the other videos I've already made to help you on this. You will find them listed in the exact order I recommend you to watch them in the description below this video. So you will find them all there. Okay, that's all for today. See you next time. Arrivederci.